If a picture's worth 1,000 words, how much is a melody? If the pen is mightier than the sword, how strong is a song? If sticks and stones may break my bones and words may never hurt me, how cutting is a chord? What if we thought about music the same way we thought about Shakespeare, Steinbeck, or Seuss? What if we took time to think about the intricacies and beauty and melody and cues of the world around us? What if I told you I could change your emotions right now with just 3 little notes? Welcome to the world of music as a storytelling tool. In the late 1800s, German playwright and novelist Gustav Freytag theorized that there were 5 parts to every story: the exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and conclusion. Since every story has a beginning, allow me to begin with my own. I've been a musician for most of my life and a storyteller for even longer. Heavenly harmonies and scintillating sentences have been flowing intertwined, making 2 different forms of one universal language of expression. It's taken hold in French horn, hip-hop, jazz, and Haydn. It's taken hold in metaphors, punchlines, puns, and the Oxford comma. But one thing I do know is that music is a universal language of life. My mother was also a band director and music teacher. Band, chorus, orchestra, trips to the symphony, works for NASA, reading, writing, even arithmetic made its way with melodious mention. I believe that music has the power to tell great stories. I believe that it is a cornerstone of cultural understanding that unlocks a new way of viewing the world. But enough about me. This is not meant to be a lullaby. Close your eyes with me. Think about the last time you were happy. The last time you were a little sad. The last time you were a little bit confused. Now think about how many of those involved music. Chances are your musical memories are a lot stronger than, say, the last time that you ate a cupcake, the last time you did laundry, the last time you read something about Donald Trump on the news. There's a reason for that. Intuition might tell you, duh, music's supposed to make you feel a certain way and play with your emotions. The question to ask then is why? Much like the sentence, "the quick, lazy fox dog Brown jumped over," doesn't make any sense, even though each individual letter makes up each individual word. The structure and orientation of music is what gives it its storytelling power. Look at this. In Western music, there are 12 notes that make up our octave that we use. This is like our musical alphabet that we use to tell these stories. Now we take 8 of those notes in a mathematical relationship and form a scale. For the purposes of this talk, we'll look at the major scale, a happy sound, and a minor scale, which is kind of sad. We look at these as the words that we use to kind of form our musical storytelling. With these scales, we can form what's called a triad. A triad is a group of 3 notes, each 3 notes apart. These are the words that are the real building blocks of this. Depending on how you organize each of the notes, you can form different triads. Independently, all of those notes make a beautiful sound, but the beauty and the complexity lies in the context of putting them all together. Think about this, for example. Remember how I said I could change your mood in 3 notes? Think about the song Happy Birthday. If I can change just 1 note, it goes from this jovial sound to something of more of a funeral dirge. Take the happy one, for example. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. Now listen to the change. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. Not exactly the kind of birthday you'd want to hear. Brings me to my next question. What does Bocelli have in common with Barbie Girl? Now, before you get up, head towards the exit and ask, what is he doing here? Surprisingly, the 2 of these have a lot in common. This thing called chord progressions and chord structure. Think of it as like a musical roadmap. You start here, you can go here, you can come back here, and ultimately you end up at the exact same place. The chord progressions are the reason why you feel sad when a sad song comes on, the reason why you feel happy when the song ends, and the reason why when you turn on the radio, you're essentially listening to 90 different versions of the exact same song. Check this out. The most common 4-chord progression that we have here is the 1 chord to the 5 chord to the 6 chord down to the 4 chord. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Now check this out. Here's a list of several artists, performers, songs, everything ranging from Eminem to Anya to Let It Go. All follows the same progression. So take a look at these here and listen and see if you can pick out the familiarity as I loop these chords. I saw you humming back there. Now that we know the structure and we see this, you're thinking, doesn't it take a degree in neuroscience to figure out what the biology behind it is, why the brain works, why it does this? Here's the kicker. It doesn't. In a 2005 paper for Nature, cognitive neuroscience Robert Zatorre wrote that music allows us to unlock a hidden way of looking at how the mind works, and unlock a hidden way of looking at how we can look at the world around us. Take humming, for example. Everyone does it, in the car, in the shower, even up on the way to the stage. But have you ever stopped to think at just how much it takes to get that to work? Zatorre calls it a tantalizing mix of practically every human cognitive function. Complex auditory, pattern processing, attention, memory storage, retrieval, motor programming, so on and so forth. A little bit of everything, just to hum out of tune. In a 2013 article, Zatorre wrote that while scientists have long known that music has done something to the brain, looking at it through a neuroscience lens helps find out how. When people listen to music that they described as deeply emotional, it unlocked the part of their brain for reward and emotion and all around just feeling good, releasing dopamine. It's the same reason that when you listen to the swell of an orchestra, the drop in dubstep, that one really, really high note at the end of the chorus of Don't Stop Believing, you all feel the same way. Interestingly enough, so does the climax and the anticipation of that climax leading up to it. Our brain craves music and craves these patterns, and it affects our emotions. It makes you feel things you might not normally feel, and that's because of the way of composers. Take, for example, some popular films. The iconic horror film, Psycho. Our heroine sitting in the shower, taking a shower, about to be stabbed to death. This is the type of music that plays. Kind of makes you want to choose to take baths, doesn't it? Now imagine the same scene is set. The heroine in the shower, somebody coming up from out of nowhere, with this music playing. Not exactly the type of film you'd want to take your kids to. Or think about this, our favorite underwater enemy, Jaws. You all know how that goes. Now imagine if it was given sort of a more cartoonish Bugs Bunny treatment. You're sitting in the boat, you look under the water, you see a shark, but hear this. Not exactly the terrifying creature that we've learned to love and hate. So now that we can tell the brain is shaped by music without any need for an MRI, a brain scan, or an advanced degree, We've seen the structure of music, we've seen the neuroscience behind it, and you might be sitting to yourself thinking, Stephen, so what? Well, it doesn't take a Mozart to master music. If everyone understands the structure and the function and the reason behind music, we can listen to the world in an entirely new way. We can better listen to everything because music transcends personal, cultural, and geographic barriers. The same booming bass you'll find in Ibiza is still the same in Illinois. The reason that Sarah McLachlan's Arms of an Angel is a tearjerker of a song paired with the images of the puppies is because of the chord progression and the longing and the sadness created in the arms of the angel. And the reason we studied a Beethoven is because the complex patterns and repetitions and rhythms that he uses helps us with the same repetition and rhythm as we study. Once we cultivate this awareness of the way music looks at the world around us, we can begin to have a greater control over our own state of emotions. We can engage with music proactively rather than reactively. Oftentimes, we use music to match the mood that we're in. What if we used music to create a mood for us? With this knowledge, one chord at a time, we can be the composers to the soundtracks of our own life. Thank you.